Right, good afternoon. Today we're going to look at a state-owned company. When we look at the following characteristics, the name of any state-owned company must end in the letters SOC Limited, so SOC Limited. An example of a state-owned company would be South African Airways, Eskom, Transnet. They're a huge lot that the South African government owns. And if you look right down at the bottom, we have got documentation on this website. You'll be able to see which companies the South African government owns. Now, in terms of the number of members that one needs, you have to have at least one or more shareholders. So the one shareholder is the South African government. But if we look at a company like Telkom, the South African government is a shareholder in Telkom, but then they're also listed on the JSE and they have public shareholders too. So the legal status of a state-owned company is that this company has the legal identity. So that means that the shareholders have limited liability. Now, in terms of capital, obviously initially a state-owned company gets its capital from the government, but the moment that they do list on the JSE, they have access to more capital. The management of a state-owned company must be managed by a board of directors where there are a minimum of 3 directors. And we have seen over the last 4 or 5 years how SAA has had so many changes in their board of directors. In terms of continuity, there's unlimited continuity unless the company is liquidated. All right, so there's been a lot of talk lately of SAA being liquidated and closed, but government is now putting more money to keep it afloat. In terms of taxation, even though it is owned by the government, they still have to pay the 28% tax like any other business would. Right? The financial statements of a state-owned company definitely need to be audited because the government is responsible to the rest of the public with regards to offering these services. Okay, one would register a state-owned company through SIPC as well, and the documentation is that of a memorandum of incorporation. So just to state a few advantages and disadvantages, all right, we must remember that the state-owned company provides support to private companies, whether they're listed on the JSE or they're a CC or you're a partnership. And the support that they're providing is by providing an infrastructure such as a communication service or offering the post office services or the supply of electricity or Transnet in terms of the railway lines. So the advantages are the profits may be used from a state-owned company to help other state departments, so other government departments. They offer the essential services so that other private companies can operate successfully. The prices are kept reasonable so as to create sound competition with the private sector. The wasteful duplication of services is absolutely eliminated. So if you think of Eskom, we only have one electricity supplier, so there's no wastage of duplicate resources out there. Planning can be coordinated through a central control system, and it does generate income to finance social programs that government is trying to put into place. Jobs are also created because of these state-owned companies. The disadvantages, however, are that there could be poor management, as government is not always as efficient as the private sector is. The inefficiency due to the large size of these businesses is often a problem. And so they often rely on bailouts from government or subsidies from government to help them get out of financial debt. A lack of incentive for employees to perform if there is no absence of any other motivator such as productivity bonuses. So if you know you're going to get your salary and you know you're going to get your bonus, you're not necessarily going to work very hard in a state-owned company. Government can certainly lose money through businesses that aren't successful and having to continually bail them out. Once again, we've spoken about this lack of incentive for employees to actually perform. The losses must be met by the taxpayer. So that means the normal citizen in the street is then responsible through their tax-paying efforts to kind of bail these companies out. So the shares are not freely tradable, making it difficult to raise even more capital. And SOX must follow strict regulations for operations to raise capital. And as I said, the financial statements must be audited, and this can be quite costly. So I hope that has given you a good understanding of a state-owned company.